What a fucking week. I I have been processing so much emotionally, and I swear to God, I'm always crying. Um, Moving a lot of grief around, um, saying goodbye to people and some things that no longer serve me, um, and that just can't come with me on this next part of wherever it is that I'm going. I explained to a friend once that the way life is shown to me is kind of like a viewfinder. I don't have the big picture. I see moments, and then I have to figure out the journey to that moment. Um, I have strong urges and an intuition that honestly I don't always trust. Um, I've been doing a lot of journaling and reflecting digitally and analog, um, in my Jupiter return era. It is quickly approaching. Um, One of my tasks was to look back at photos and journals, blog posts, and remember where I was, who I was, what I was doing, where I came from. Um, so I got onto my Tumblr, I hit that archive, and so much came up. I I was almost married a few times, but during during that year specifically, it was a concept that I wasn't comfortable with, but I was comfortable with that person enough to entertain the idea seriously. And it was serious, especially because military men move pretty quickly. So he was like talking about meeting my father figure because my father and I weren't really speaking at that time. Like he was helping me out. There were some stipulations around that, but it wasn't genuine. It probably didn't become genuine until maybe a couple years after. But um, yeah, I was reading, um, and based on my chart, my return is about becoming someone simpler, someone softer, more supported than I've allowed myself to be recently. And that's really uncomfortable. Um, I am not trying to grind. I've never tried to grind harder or engage in hustle culture. I'm not trying to prove anything or do everything alone. Um, I've just become accustomed to seeing things that need to be done and then like getting it done. That's just who I am. I guess I can say it's how I was raised, but it comes off as hyper independent sometimes. And I realized that because of the environments that I've been in previously, it comes off that way because a lot of people are just okay with the status quo. And oh, this is just how we've always done it. Like, bitch, this isn't effective. You know this shit isn't working, but this is how we've always done it, so you're just gonna keep doing it this way? You see the patterns and you're not trying to, okay. Um, so right now, we are building a life that takes care of me back. Um, so part of the reflection exercise was what version of me existed here that I've been missing, and what felt natural then that feels hard now, and what did I believe was possible for my life. I think the environment that I in, I thought anything was possible. Everything was possible. Whatever I want, I could have it. And I still have that mindset. I still have kind of an entitlement to the things that I want because I don't think that desire is something that just comes from nowhere. Um, if I want it, it's because I can't have it, and it's not about that woo woo manifesting it. It's simply just aligning myself with the opportunities for it to happen. It's not going to just appear out of thin air. Um, my community is important. Engaging with my community is important. And when I do that, that's when things really take off for me. Um, what version of me existed then that I've been missing? This one was a hard question for me because I feel like I grow at a pretty rapid speed and I learn and I evolve at a pace that keeps up with the environment around me. And luckily, the environment around me is always changing, always growing. Even the people that I know are always changing, always growing, always striving for something more. We did this last month. Now we're going to refine it. We're going to make it better. Like, they're always pushing themselves and challenging the people around them, whether they know it or not, to do better. Not necessarily grinding and hustling, but just noticing the things around them that don't work, noticing the systems around them that could be perfected, and then doing it. I think back then I was maybe a little bit more, not revolutionary, but I believed in change. Like big Obama years vibes kind of change. Um, I still believe in that. I I don't think I miss it, but I do think that I could draw from that energy a lot more than I do. Um, then part of my archive reflections was looking at what my energy was. Was it softer, more expressive, more playful, more hopeful? And then that should let me know how my Jupiter state feels when it's flowing. And it was absolutely more hopeful. It was absolutely playful. It was really adventurous. And I don't think I've lost any of that. I'm just more careful with it now. Uh, I I feel like adventure for me can become a slippery slope. And it gets to the point where I'm just like, I'm never going home. I go out of town, I'm like, I can just live here forever. I remember when I went to New Orleans, which is so funny because I'm like, my family's from Louisiana. I've been to Louisiana a bajillion times. Um, but oh, that's when I was with Colby. So going home, going home at the end of that week, and I just seen Beyonce too. So I was floating, and I was like, I can do fucking anything. If I wanted to just disappear, I could. And I actually told history of that when I got home. Um, After Kobe and I broke up, there was like there was a situation, and that was the last straw. Uh, Clean break, toodaloo, and I sent History a message. I was outside smoking. And I was just like, I could just disappear. I could move somewhere else. I could change my name. I live 2 minutes from the airport. I could just catch a one-way flight to wherever and start over. He was like, Fred, I think about that all the time. And it wasn't that I was running from anything. I just felt like starting over. And I've been feeling that urge again. I don't know why I'm crying. Everything has been making me cry, honestly. Um, the my fear is that it's not adventure. My fear is that it's cowardice. That I'm running from something or someone. And I've been trying to explore that feeling a little more and figure out where it's coming from. I feel like I've done a really good job of making Oklahoma home. But I don't think that it's like others for me. I I'm not sure if I was softer back then, but I was definitely more emotionally available. And I was more emotionally available because I had to be. It was part of my career. Um, my career at the time being acting. Um, I had undergone 2 years of them breaking me and molding me into someone who could do this, who could fucking emote um, at the drop of a hat, and it be genuine, really living in the moment and listening. Listening is such an important skill. Not a lot of people have it. I have a friend who um, kind of shaded me once and was like, and you're listening to me in that learned way. I'm like, yeah, listening is a skill that you learn. No, people. I experience it literally every day talking to patients. People do not listen. They sometimes hear you, but they don't listen to what you're saying. Um, and by listen, I mean like comprehending the words that you're saying. Um, Taking a beat, letting it process. And so that's where I've been living. Instead of being so quick to respond, I like to let it land. I like to let the plane land. I like to offboard properly, get my baggage from baggage claim, exit, find the Uber or pick up and drop off, and process. Um, then it tells me to look at my interests and notice patterns: food, recipes, domestic content, healing or self care routines, comfort aesthetics, helping others, community vibes. All of that is like Cancer and six house coded for me. Um, so yeah, my interest in my patterns haven't really changed. I'm still home and lifestyle gang. I was raised by stay-at-home parents, so I love to nurture the hearth. I believe that creativity is bred in environments where it can flow. And I don't think that it can flow if your environment is chaotic. Um, I've built systems for myself that help me clear the chaos so that the creativity can flow. Um, Food, recipes, I don't know. I don't know. My fixations change often. I don't know if I have any staples that like back then it was a lot of like shrimp and grits, histrio, words of histrio. Actually, I would do polenta and shrimp. Um, I might revisit that. I have rolled oats and some tiger shrimp in the freezer. I might do something cheesy and savory with that later. Um, but I can't think of anything that I was like into back then that really stands out. Aside from like partying and drinking. I had a cocktail shaker. I was really into like making cocktails and stuff. And sometimes I get back into my bartender phase where I'm like experimenting, but uh I don't I don't really think anything stands out. Healing or self-care routines. Back then I was kind of a shea butter bitch. I always had coconut oil in my teeny weeny afro. Uh I used to whip, like literally, I used to whip my own shea butters. um, I don't do that anymore. It's so time consuming and messy. I hate doing a kitchen project where it uses up like 8 different things in the kitchen. Like now I gotta wash all this shit. I'm good. I'm good because I'm gonna put it off. It's gonna sit on the counter for a week, and it's going to be an arduous task trying to clean it up, taking the beaters off the blender, cleaning those individually. I finally got some brushes for those types of things. Because sticking your arm in your water bottle is so fucking crazy to me. uh, Aesthetics of comfort. I think my aesthetics back then were just my aesthetics back then were black and white, some pops of color, and then I moved from black and white to like this robin's egg blue type of situation, and things were a little bit more colorful. But now I don't know. I love some gray. I love black. I love a boring beige. I love neutrals that can be enhanced. I live in a neutral. Um, Helping others, community vibes. I'm always doing that. I haven't stopped doing that. What were you fantasizing about? I didn't understand this question too well. Or maybe I didn't want to understand this question. Um, I was probably fantasizing about Broadway. I was probably fantasizing about black box theater. I was probably fantasizing about what my beautiful marriage was going to look like with my beautiful bald man, and waking up in the morning and having his roommate make us breakfast, and then going to the park and having a picnic that I packed. Because back then I loved to plan a picnic and then make food for it, and we pack the basket together and then head out. Um, just creating really romantic moments for us. Um, so all in all, Jupiter Returns asks, are you finally ready to build the life you wanted to build back then? And honestly, no. I want something completely different now. I don't want to be married. At least not to him. And uh acting is not something that I would go back to willingly. It would be for histrio. Honestly, it would be for a friend. And yeah. Did I ever want like a house or anything? I think I've always wanted like a condo or a townhome. My aunt has one, and I thought she's just so fucking cool. Um, it just seems way more low maintenance to me. Uh, really fits my vibe. I know some people hate it because you're still sharing a wall with people, but I don't mind that, honestly. It kind of helps remind me that we're all connected. We're all together. We're in this with each other. I am not on my own. Eighth house influence this year is for attachment rewiring through real experiences. So, the expectation is magnetic connections, emotional triggers. I'm so tired of emotional triggers. Please, no more emotional fucking triggers. Actually, situations that expose my patterns and bonding that feels faded or intense. And honestly, I could do without that as well. I bond deeply, and I was actually reflecting on that the other day, just kind of in passing. It wasn't um, anything that I expected to reflect on that day, but I had a really emotional morning, and uh, I was finding it difficult to get out of bed because I feel shifts. I feel shifts before they're even spoken. And while it gives me a chance to process the emotions that come up first, it, it can be really debilitating. Um, so I wrote on my story the other day, which was my Instagram has become kind of a digital journal of sorts. I said I've been thinking a lot about the positive outcomes of failure lately, the deeply watery ways in which I feel everything so intensely, how much I feel, how loud it gets inside me, how badly I crave a space that can hold all of it, if that space even exists at all. Um, Learning how to love and be loved without shrinking or cowering away from it. What it means to be bravely misunderstood while moving forward in spite of it. Some days it feels like too much, but I'm still here. Turns out my endurance doesn't need to be radical, it just needs to be consistent. Um, I I was walking and thinking about when my my grandfather passed, which was probably one of the most traumatic times of my life. And I wasn't handled well in that situation at all. Histrio was the Histrio was the only person in my life that wasn't afraid of the emotions that I was feeling. And I'm so grateful for him because he stuck around. There's a picture of us smoking a blunt on the porch, and I was in such a catatonic state. I look absolutely empty in that picture. I'm just staring into there was a garden wall that separated us from the next building over, and I was just staring right into the concrete. I just no thoughts, no lights on in the eyes, gone. And he stuck around. I'm so grateful. Um, Even my roommate had to leave during that era. It was too much for him. It was too much for him to be around. was told once by Colby that whenever I'm upset, I can become kind of a black hole. And just suck the energy out of the room. Uh, I remember during that time, History and I went out, and everything was fine. And then suddenly I remembered. And we we were outside of Mickey's, and I was sitting on the curb howling, like not even crying. It was the most guttural noise I've ever made. It could only come from pain. As a car purrs down the street. But I remember that and being so thankful to have found a container that could hold all of that. Um, and I was reflecting on whether that exists for me. Are you able to love all the parts of me without me shrinking myself? Are you able to hold all of the parts of me? And I'm not sure that exists. And I don't think I'm special. I don't think that there's anything extraordinary about me. I don't think that I am high maintenance in that I ask for a lot. I was in a relationship for 7 years, and I don't think that person will tell you that I asked for a lot. What I asked for was very simple. Just be present. Just be here. Just engage with what's going on, and help me build this. And yeah, I think that's foundational. That isn't anything revolutionary. Um, it goes on to say the eighth house energy pulls fifth house romance into psychological transformation. So, learning the difference between being emotionally available and being emotionally well placed. And that is absolutely something I'm struggling with right now. Um, Not the emotional availability, because I am emotionally available, but I'm not always emotionally well placed. Um, I don't think that there's always a carefulness around that. I don't think, even with how much I show that I'm emotionally available, that people realize that I need to be well placed, and it there needs to be more care in handling. And I hate to think that it's a strong black woman type of thing happening there, but I never claimed to be strong. I never ever said that. I never ever said that. I never claimed to be the strongest soldier. I never claimed to want to carry it all. I never claimed to want to do it all by myself. Uh, so I've been working on curating better boundaries around that, and um, what what I want it to feel like, how I want to be received. And it's not to enact some sort of control or to have control over situations and how they play out, because I know that's not realistic. But I have to know what the goal is. There has to be a goal. It can't just be a road to nowhere. It can't just be a journey to nowhere. And there are no signs on the road that are telling me where I'm at, and there are no mile markers that telling me how far I've come. Like, there have to be signs and labels on situations, because that gives me comfort. I can't live in the vague. I love a gray area. I love a loophole, but I can't live there. It's not a destination. It's a pit stop. It goes on to say, Cancer Jupiter people often attract people who need them but can't necessarily hold them. And when I read that, I just bye. Because that's essentially what I've been struggling with. And I've been struggling with that all week, honestly. Yeah, I've been struggling with that all week. I can't say that I've ever truly been held. Not by family, not in romantic relationships. And it's been a journey of really finding my place. And when I say being held, I don't mean being welcomed or being enjoyed. I mean all of me, the whole of me, the unabridged version. I decided that I would combine some of my interests and had JazzGPT come up with a list of Jupiter Return films for the theater school girl with taste per. So it came up with, first of all, the list was a bunch of stuff I'd already seen before. Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Worst Person in the World, I don't know, just like things that have come out in the last, I'd say, decade that we've all seen. And I wouldn't, In the Mood for Love, oh my God, In the Mood for Love is exquisite. But I don't really think that it helps on my Jupiter return. Talking about a deep romance where neither of them acts on it, like, fuck off. I don't I don't want that. No, I absolutely want action. I didn't feel like that aligns very well. Great film, but I just didn't feel like it aligned well with what I was asking for. And I also wanted to get away from all of the romance and the love, even though that is a major part of my Jupiter return. I wanted to get away from that because it's not my focus. It really isn't my focus. Those things will always happen for me. I've never had a lack of lovers. So I had it come up with 3 lists. And from those 3 lists, I curated my own list that I thought was relevant and something that I would actually engage with. So we got Columbus 2017. The themes are stillness, architecture, emotional processing. The lesson, can something be meaningful even if it's quiet and undefined? The Souvenir from 2019. Themes are young love, projection, becoming. The lesson, who am I when I'm not shaped by who I love? After Sun 2022. Memory, emotional current, quiet impact are the themes. The lesson is what is being felt beneath the surface, even when nothing is spoken. Uh, Disobedience from 2017. The lesson is what do you choose when love challenges your identity? Then The Dreamers from 2003. The lesson is when does living become escaping? I thought that was really poignant, so I had to put that on the list. I've never seen The Dreamers. The themes are fantasy versus reality, immersion and feeling, and identity through experience. And then I had some bonus ones. Secretary 2002. It's more of an unconventional intimacy in depth, emotional acceptance, power dynamics, and the lesson is what does it mean to be accepted fully as you are. I actually seen Secretary a while ago, but I saw that it was on Tubi recently, and so I rewatched it. So I'm gonna rewatch it for my list and then do some journaling around all of these. Um, and then there are a couple more. 20th Century Women from 2016. The lesson there is you are shaped by who you let in your world. Portraits of a Lady on Fire, Intensity, Presence, and Impermanence. Before Sunrise from 1995. Which is like Jupiter in Cancer and Venus energy. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to start watching. I haven't had much time this week, just trying to juggle a bunch of work stuff. Work is simultaneously easy and also so difficult. I was offered the, I don't even want to say offered. It's not a, I'm not flattered. I've been offered more work, essentially, for the same rate of pay. They want to raise my skill level. And essentially, what that means is that I'll be talking to more patients all day. Uh, yeah, no thanks. This week alone, Monday, I spoke to 70. I think I ended the day around 70, 72 patients. And then Tuesday was slightly around the same thing, like 50 or 60. And going from my skill level, which is 1 right now, where I'm supposed to have at least an hour between my calls, at least 30 minutes between my calls. And it hasn't been that way, BT dubs. It's literally been back to back. Going from the skill level I'm at now to the next level up, I would absolutely be doing essentially 100 calls a day. And I forget because I was management level for 2 years and I wasn't really on the phones like that. Just a bunch of fucking meetings. I forget how tired talking to people makes me. I also encounter a lot of emotionally charged situations. And so I have to be emotionally present. I have to show up. I can't be a robot. Um, I do find myself shutting down sometimes, especially at the end of the day or at the end of the week, where just my bandwidth is I'm stretched. I'm stretched too thin. I've been trying to take half days or full days just to frolic and uh, have a little whimsy in my life. My coworker asked me, what is whimsy? I said, girl, like, is everybody okay? Um, I I know I won't be there long, and that's the only reason why I can handle it right now. It's just that I know I won't be there long. Um, it's been trying. It's been insanely trying. I don't know. I don't know how these people have done it for like 13, 15, 18 years. It's insane. It's insane. I can't even imagine being at a company for 15 years. I can barely imagine being at a company for 3 years. That's usually the cutoff for me. 3 years, and I've likely learned everything I'm ever gonna learn from this place. And at this point, if you haven't promoted me already, you're not going to. So goodbye. I'm gonna go raise my pay and go somewhere else. And I've been playing that game for a long time. So um, yeah, being at a company for 5 years, wild. I can't believe I was at the place I was at before I got laid off in May for almost that amount of time. Just, and I would tell them all the time, it's just I have never been at any place this long before. This is wild. Um, so yeah, Jupiter return things are going to be fun. Uh, let's see. What else? What else does it say? I think I've talked about most of this stuff, or have I? Um, let's see. Late April, May. Clusters of transits impacting career, public visibility, life trajectory. Jupiter return through May means professional opportunities, expansion in work or responsibilities, improved daily routines, new directions opening. I think that what I've gathered from my chart is that my next job opportunity is going to come from within my circle, within my network. It's not going to come from me casting a wide net and being tenacious like I usually am and reaching out to people and, hey, I'm a really great fit for this role. Here's why, yada, yada, yada. Let's chat. Like, it's not going to come through anything like that. It's going to come through a connection that I've already made. So I've been trying to work my network. Jupiter 6th house expansion impacts me in work environments, skill development, job opportunities, health, and productivity improvements. I think we've all seen that. Y'all know I be in the gym working on my fitness. I've never been this strong in my whole entire life. People are noticing it. Actually, the other day we ran out of wipes, of the sanitizing wipes in the yoga studio, and the new instructor didn't know what to do. Luckily, I've changed the wipes before. It's not hard. You just put them in the new receptacle and then thread them through. And she goes, she was like, oh, I've never done this before. I was like, oh, it's okay, I got it. I just grabbed them and, started heading over. And she goes, oh, do you work here? I'm like, girl, I need all y'all to stop trying to get me to work here. Please leave me alone. There are too many miscommunications that happened there for me to be a productive employee. But anyway, it goes on to say, this is the strongest career growth window in my chart this year. It correlates with accepting a new job, receiving recognition at work, settling into a more fulfilling routine. In conjunction with that, it's a classic transit for career progress, professional visibility, and supporting mentors, supportive mentors. Most of you know that's something that I've been craving for a long time. I can't remember a job that I've had where I didn't have a mentor or someone who was a positive influence in my career trajectory. And I've reached out to a lot of those people, got brave on LinkedIn one day and added a few people and just reached out and was like, thank you. I still carry your words with me to this day. You are still a major part of my career progress. At the same time, Saturn is opposing my sun. And so there are questions like, is this sustainable? Does it align with my long-term directions? Am I ready for more? Those questions definitely be coming up during the day while I'm trying to figure out medical billing bullshit, because all of this is way more complicated than it has to be. I think it's a system that's already broken, but when you have processes that don't soothe the brokenness of the system, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? April overall, opportunities appearing, conversations about career, increased confidence in my skill set. Early May, a decision point about career, accepting or committing to a new professional direction. Late May, settling into a new role or routine, increased visibility in career settings. Um, During Jupiter returns, it's common for someone to recommend you. So, like a connection to open a professional door. And it's also common for your reputation to improve through social networks. So yeah, I'm excited to experiment with all of this. Um, I feel like my influence is in showing up and helping with real life situations and making environments function better. Process improvement is something that I've been doing for years, taking data, aggregating it, and then turning it into something actionable. Oh my God. So yeah, all in all, May should bring some fascinating developments. Um, I'm excited. This is all, it's all kind of it's a science. It's a science. It's a math. Um, More serious conversations about directions, clear boundaries of communication, restructuring of routines. Um, Saturn rewarding my honesty. I'm going to be making some changes and curating better boundaries around my head and my heart. I'm I'm no longer interested in living in ambiguity. I want real, I want passion, I want fire. I want what I want. And I'm not I'm not being apologetic about that anymore. Um yeah. Anyway, we'll chat later. I'm gonna go get dressed for the gym.